Hello everyone. I'm Eva Emery and this is Humans Academy, the place where we use the therapeutic benefits of the narrative arts to learn how to be a better human. Welcome to episode 1 of this video podcast that we call also Humans Academy. And today I want to talk to you about one very recently thing that I've been thinking about that was so important and so important for the topic of this community that I couldn't just, throw it under the rug and pretend I'm not concerned with this topic, and that is human disconnection. So recently, many of my favorite experts on relationships and human connection are concerned with the same topic, which is hyperindependence. And I couldn't but say, I need to record something. I need to do some content related to this because this is so important to me. And I want people who are going to start following Humans Academy to know me a little bit more and to know what this community is going to be about. And the video that got me, the first one was by Dr.K. If you don't know who Dr.K is, he's a psychiatrist who has become one of the biggest voices out there, especially for the community of young men who struggle with socializing, and specifically those who have been addicted to video gaming. You're going to be able to find his community on Discord and also on Twitch. But if you're not a freak on video games, maybe you are going to be able to find his community also on YouTube here. And so in this video, he was basically responding to one of his community members who said something like, so who are really responsible for men who are struggling with societal norms, societal expectations today? Is it women? Is it men? Who are really responsible for them? And basically his brilliant answer was like, no, in society, everyone takes care of everyone. I mean, if you are a woman and you have in your life a young man who is also struggling with societal norms and expectations, you probably want to help him, I hope. But it's not your only responsibility. And definitely, if you don't want to make anything to better his life, I mean, you're not under the obligation to do anyways. In that same video, he argues that some people, after going through a difficult episode or a struggle in life, they become more independent, hyper independent. And that is due to, firstly, the perspective they have, but also if they didn't feel supported or their needs being met by the caretakers around him or her, probably that is the mentality that they are going to have. Like, if I could do this by myself, why do we have to waste so many social and economic resources in these demographics? When I went through my own addiction recovery, I don't think I had many human or economical resources. Some of them were also because of the stigma. I didn't want to ask for help. I was scared to ask publicly help for that specific problem, because addiction, and today we have a very different perspective, way less stigma, still a lot of a stigma depending on what kind of addiction, because if you're addicted to your work, it's not socially same way interpreted as drug addiction, absolutely. But imagine 13 years ago when I had to ask a very, very little support system to help me with this. Way different. So that video got me, and I thought, that overlapped perfectly, beautifully with Esther Perel's video, where she talks about the vestige of a society that struggles with interdependence. And I thought that was it. Those people who have gone through a lot of shit in their lives and didn't find themselves supported enough or cared enough, those are the people who then punch more into this idea that we have to do it by ourselves, as if asking for help was something that would diminish your humanity, like you missing something inside of you. That is so detrimental for our society. And I had to create this podcast because for me, I come from the two demographics which are more impacted by solitude, loneliness, and human disconnection. And as a person diagnosed with ADHD who have gone through addiction recovery, that is a very unfair message and so dangerous message, especially for our younger generations. They are going on social media to look for role models that can somehow lay the path for them. And when they go online and the only message that they get is to be as rich as possible, as soon as possible, being the more independent possible, that is the way in which you screw an entire generation in the most detrimental way. What do you think about this? I really want to know what is your perspective on all of this, and if you really see the same happening on social media today, or if you have any other communities that are more supportive, like Dr.K's community, Esther Perel, or Simon Sinek. By the way, Simon Sinek is lately creating amazing content on relationships, but specifically on friendship, which I think is an industry that we have almost none content about. And I think since he has become the voice of this topic, friendship, science is taking this as an invitation to do more studies. And I really love this. It's a topic that I'm also super interested in. So if you are a person who struggles with interdependence, this is what I would suggest you do. And that is to practice your trust muscle. There is no way a person can become more interdependent if he or she doesn't trust other people. And I would say that is basically the issue behind the hyper independence. So the way in which I like to practice my interdependence is through very little actions in which I can ask for help. And I try to push myself into doing this in every dimension of my life: work, relationships, like personal relationships, family. And of course, there will be some of them that triggers you more or that you find more difficult to ask for help. But, sometimes you don't have to only ask for help. You can also give help without being asked for. And I think, and I don't know if you would agree with me, but it's way easier to give help to other people, which, by the way, that was the main concern when Esther Perel was talking in her video about interdependence. It's like when you ask people to give help, they find it so easy to give help to other people, but not to receive it. So I was the other day running out of oats, and I was basically getting ready to go to the supermarket because it was a Sunday evening and there was only one supermarket opened here in this area where I live. And I dare to think that maybe, just maybe, before going into the supermarket, I could ask my new neighbor. And so I knock on his door and I said, listen, I don't have oats. By any chance do you have? And he flew away into the kitchen and came back with at least 3 types of cereals. And he was like, there you have cereal buffet. Pick the one you prefer. And that was super beautiful. And I could see him smiling like crazy and taking that as a compliment, almost like the neighbor came and just asked me for something that where on earth do you see that? And I was even remembering when I was a child, and my grandma would do that all the time with the community around her, and that we are losing that. We are losing the abilities, the basic social skills of not only talking to strangers, but also asking the people in our community, in our vicinity for help. I think that is a huge relief and trust. If you have a new neighbor in your area, in your building, and they come to you to ask for help, I would trust them a little bit more. What do you think about this? Now, this is the message I want to leave to you. And I hope that slowly, you can also practice your trust muscle. You don't have to ask for, big gestures. You just have to ask for little tiny things. And I agree with Simon Sinek that you build trust not by helping other people, but by asking them and seeing their reactions. This is the essence of the whole video I did today. And if you didn't understand it like that, I hope that through Simon Sinek's words, you can understand it. It goes like this. To present yourself as perfect sets up an unfair standard for other people to live by. And usually people present themselves as perfect out of absolute fear that they don't want people to know they are actually very imperfect. To be beautiful is to be perfectly imperfect humans. We don't fall in love with perfection, but only when somebody lets us be imperfect and allows us to love them for being imperfect. I want to be my messy self with someone who loves me in my messiness. That is a high standard and a hard thing to find. And if you have a relationship like that, you work damn hard to protect that relationship. Thank you very much for listening to this first episode. Hope to see you in the next one.